What is up, everybody? You are very welcome along to Tuesday night's late night agenda. As always, this is your Liverpool talk show. Anything that you want to get into the chat, please do put it in there and I will do my best to read it out. I hope that you're all well. I hope the sun's shining, the birds are singing, and look, all your loved ones are safe and well. That's all we can ask for at this moment in time. I want to start off tonight with a little bit of good news for football fans. It looks like we may start gradually getting fans back inside stadiums. There's finally some positive signs coming out about the possibility of this happening. Today it was announced that EFL clubs, so Football League clubs, not Premier League clubs, have been given the nod to run tests this weekend, allowing fans up to numbers of 1,000 inside the stadiums. Any interested clubs have been asked to register their interest before today, or before the end of business today, so they would have registered it already to make sure that all the stuff can be put in order, all the paperwork and all the information needed to be given to these clubs to host these test events or these pilot events, which is good news, because we do want to start seeing fans back inside stadiums, and of course we want to do that in as safe a way as possible. So it's always good to start off with a little bit of positivity tonight. So best of luck to all the clubs that are going to be welcoming in up to 1,000 fans this weekend. Hopefully the events go well and we can slowly start to see football fans getting back inside the stadiums. How are we, folks? Loads of stuff to get through tonight. One thing I want to say right at the start of the stream is do not miss out tomorrow. We're going to be launching a giveaway tomorrow on the channel. I've got myself a little Kenny Dalglish signed poster that we're going to be giving away to you guys on the channel. So keep an eye out for that one tomorrow. We'll be running it across Twitter, Instagram, and of course the YouTube channel here. We do like to give back to you guys. I say it to you, we're not here to make a business. We're not here to make a whole heap of profit. If it happens someday and Craig can upgrade his 2011 car, albeit. But we had a very good month on the channel with regards to views and stuff. It was a record breaking month and we wanted to just give a little bit back to you guys. So we went and bought this poster and we're going to give it away to somebody. It does of course come with a certificate of authenticity. It was bought from AAA memorabilia. So heads up to you guys. Keep an eye out for that one tomorrow. Right, look, how are we feeling? By the way, are we still frustrated? I mean, it could be worse. It could be a United fan right now. I'm just sitting back laughing, watching them all go through meltdown as target after target seems to be disappearing, and maybe they're going to end up with Gareth Bale, although he's also been linked with a move to Spurs on loan as well, so maybe Mourinho's got to get another injury-prone player to play around with. You never know. Does this mean that we're signing him or we're not signing him, said Gillard. I mean, a bit of foreplay, mate. Do you know what I mean? A bit of back and forth here. Let's get straight to the business, but we don't want to leave you all disappointed. Look, the Thiago thing is coming to an end, and we will know in what seems like the next day or two probably what's going to happen with Wijnaldum. That seems to be going along rather nicely. I'm going to go through it all tonight. I've got as much information as I could possibly get for you guys, but as always, it's your show, so whatever you want to talk about, whack it into the chat there and I'll do my best to get through it. I want to talk about Chelsea's performance last night as well against Brighton in their opener. Obviously Frank Lampard and Chelsea have spent a lot of money. Didn't see all their new additions on display last night, but we will have a chat around the ones that did play and see if we've anything to worry about, or anything to fear ahead of the game at the Bridge this weekend, which is going to be a cracker. I'm really looking forward to it. Loads of people in the chat. Lovely to see you all. Really is. Thank you for being here with me. I know last night it was a bit of a quieter stream because you guys, and myself to be fair, were watching the Chelsea game. I watched the second half of it after the stream. And so let's start with a little bit of a conversation around Frank Lampard's Chelsea. Obviously we're going there this Sunday in the first big game of the season, if you want to put it that way. And it will be a real test of Chelsea's Premier League title credentials, if you believe that they do have Premier League title credentials for this season. So what do we talk about? Well, let's start off with Timo Verner. I know it hurts a little bit to be talking about Werner still, but he put in a pretty good performance last night for Chelsea. If I'm being honest, he picked up that knee injury early on in the game, but still managed to carry on through, so fair play to him. I mean, he didn't get himself a goal, did win the penalty, and looked quite lively and bright in the game, so you can see what you're going to get out of Timo Werner there at Chelsea. But Kai Havertz, that was a different story altogether. I mean, Kai Havertz looked like he hadn't got a Scooby-Doo. What was going on? Now, I'm not writing off Kai Havertz. I always say you have to give a new player in the Premier League a full season before you judge them, and I stand over that. But we are looking ahead to the game on Sunday, and right now, that Kai Havertz, that doesn't worry me one bit whatsoever. That Chelsea midfield actually didn't worry me one bit whatsoever. I think our midfield could run rings around that midfield, and I hope I'm proved right on Sunday when we take on Chelsea. Hi Craig, hope you're well, mate. Congrats on 45k, said Rowan. Thank you, buddy. I'm brilliant. I'm absolutely brilliant. I'm happier that our little community is continuing to grow, buddy. And if you're like Rowan and you're happy to be part of the community, you want to join, hit that subscribe button, drop a like on the video as well. What do we think of Chelsea's performance? Nothing to be worried about. Obviously, it's going to be a difficult game. Not as difficult, perhaps, as if Stamford Bridge was full of Chelsea fans all baying for our blood, but still going to be a difficult game. Actually, Simon Jordan. Now, it's not very often you'll hear me be complimentary of TalkSport on here. In fact, it's almost never going to happen. But Simon Jordan was talking, and somebody shared a clip on Twitter, and I just clicked on it and watched it. And he was talking about the comparison Frank Lampard was trying to make between the money that Liverpool have spent and the money that Chelsea have spent. And he quite frankly pulled it apart and said that it's not comparable because, one, we spent money that we got from selling players, and two, if you want to talk about spending 75 million on Van Dijk, well, you went and spent almost that on a goalkeeper, and our signing has worked out, whereas Kepa just looks all kinds of all over the shop right now. I want to draw your attention back. Do you remember last year when I did a video and I said La Liga team of the decade? I actually put Kepa in that La Liga team of the next decade because I think he's going to end up back in Spain. I've been saying that for a really long time. He just has not settled in the Premier League, and if that was my goalkeeper, if that was Alisson that let that strike in from outside the box, you got to ask yourself questions. It was horrendous. So look, ahead of the game against Chelsea on Sunday, and we will be doing a full preview later on in the week, don't worry about it. I just want to know, are you worried about it? I mean, that gave me actually more hope. Now, I know Pulisic wasn't there, and I know there was a load of players that hadn't started yet for Chelsea for varying reasons, and that's fair enough. But I'm wondering, is this the right time to catch them? If we show up, if we play, I think this could be the right time to catch this Chelsea side. I think that we could potentially go to the bridge and collect all the 3 points. Kent, Coastal Holiday Let's. Carl, how are you, buddy? Thank you very much for the super sticker. What have we got? If they play like that against us, I think we'll win, said Hex Boom. Somebody wanting to sign Daka. I mean, yes. Ajar from Celtic is... I've spoken about this guy before, actually. He's a centre-back. I asked my friend about him, and his friend is a massive Celtic fan that watches, obviously, this guy play. And he said to me he was a little bit hit and miss at first, but he's starting to settle down a bit. And there were links to Ajar at one point, but we do have new links to another centre-back that I'm going to touch on a little bit later on in the stream as well. It is indeed the road to 50k, Andre. Well played, mate. I don't know much of Daka, so sorry for me, said Matthew Moore. Yeah, look, we're not all going to come on here and pretend to be experts on the players that we're all linked with. At least I'm not, anyway. Patson Daka looks like he's one for the future. And by that I mean it looks like he's willing to stay at Salzburg for at least another season. I've touched on him loads of times on the stream. Links to Spurs, obviously, with the Freddie Canute link. Freddie Canute is his agent, or his representative anyway. So with Spurs needing a striker, you've seen that link there. Obviously, Mourinho, Canute, Spurs, makes sense, but it looks like he's not going to go anywhere until at least January, so I don't think we need to worry about Daka joining a rival just yet anyhow. Hello Fabio, how are you, buddy? Welcome in. I can send a super sticker, but I can't send the super chat, said Carl. That is weird. That's weird, mate. I don't know, mate, but you don't need to do that other than be here, Carl, sharing your comments with us. Hope you're doing well, said Fabio. I'm tickety-boo, buddy, tickety-boo. I can already see Highbrow in the chat there asking about Collie. Yes, that is the guy that we've been linked with, so let's get straight to it. Transfer talk, right, here we go, the sexy part of the stream. LFC transfer talk. I do love a transfer saga, although I hope there's no more sagas this summer. I hope we just get a little bit of business done. So, centre-back search. Various reports to Jason. No, we'll try this again. Will we go again? Take two, everybody. Various reports today suggest that we're one of a number of clubs that are interested in Sampdoria's 27-year-old Omar Colley. Another one of these that I'm not even going to pretend that I knew anything about before the links today. It's believed he's a buyout clause of around £10.8 million in his current deal. 6'3" tall, and has had spells in Europe with clubs in Finland, Sweden, Belgium before moving to Sampdoria. That's about all I know about this guy. I have read a few little bits and pieces today from people that obviously watch Sampdoria and watch the Serie A lot more than I would. And they said that he's quite steady. And steady may be good enough to come in as a 4-choice centre-back. We're certainly talking about the right type of price range there. About £10.8 million. That's kind of where we are. Dejan Lovren-esque kind of money. But look, I'm not going to pretend to be an expert on this dude. Not by any stretch of the imagination. But as many journalists have said, it looks like a centre-back and a wide forward are the priorities for Liverpool in this window. I know, I can already hear people screaming Thiago at me. Thiago. I know. But as each day goes past, I'm feeling less confident that Thiago will end up a Liverpool player, unfortunately. Yesterday I was on the fence. Today I'm leaning a little bit more towards the no side. But I'm trying to keep up with what's going on, and ESPN put something out there to suggest that he's looking for wages of about 200 grand a week, and that's putting Manchester United off signing him. Now, I don't really think United are that interested in signing Thiago. I think it's more Bayern Munich throwing his name around there. But what I will say is, one thing we've heard consistently is that Liverpool have agreed terms with his representatives. So that seems to have been done and dusted. Now that's gone back a very long time, where Thiago first came up as interest to Liverpool, or being linked to Liverpool. We heard from, pick a journalist, doesn't matter which one, Fabrizio Romano, Christian Falk, they've all said that Liverpool have agreed terms. So terms aren't the issue. But I would be very surprised if we had agreed to pay Thiago in excess of 200 grand a week. That will put him right up there with Mohamed Salah as our top earner at the club. So I think the number that's been bandied around can't be right if Liverpool have agreed terms with his representatives. There's no way I can see Liverpool bringing in somebody on 200 grand a week. Even somebody like Thiago, who is at the pinnacle of his career, who is in his prime, who has just won the Champions League. I would suggest that if we have agreed terms, that our wage structure would indicate that it'll be a little bit less, maybe more of an incentivised contract. But again, all of this means nothing unless there's an agreement between the clubs. And it seems like this one is going to drag on to the last week if Liverpool are indeed to be interested. At least that's what's coming out from a lot of different people as well. James Pearce still believes the only way we'll see the club make an offer for Thiago is if the midfielder leaves, or a midfielder leaves, and there's space in the squad. And it doesn't look like that midfielder is going to be Gini, by the way. He's moving closer and closer to an agreement with the club. As I said all along, it looked like it wasn't a wage thing with Gini. It wasn't an ambition thing. It was a length of contract. And right now, although no talks, I believe, have yet taken place over the contract, there is goodwill apparently on both sides. And it's looking like Gini's told the gaffer he wants to stay, he wants to be part of the project. And look, I'm very happy with that. I love Gini Wijnaldum. I've spoken about that many times. And I know a lot of people... It's weird because it's almost turned a lot of people against Gini because of the links to Thiago, which is really unfair on Gini Wijnaldum, because the man's been nothing but a solid 7.5 out of 10 since he's been at Liverpool, and as we said before, he can play in various positions. What have we got? Joseph said, don't need Thiago, got enough cover in midfield, we need a striker. We're not going to get a striker, unfortunately. We're going to get a wide forward. And I hope that placates people, because it's certainly the position I think we need to strengthen in. I will talk about Roberto Firmino in that situation. And John Aldridge just had a little bit to say on Bobby Firmino as well. And we'll touch on that a bit later in the stream. But if we are to bring in a forward, I mean, anyone who's hoping it's going to be a centre forward, I think needs to tone it down, because it's going to be a wide forward to give Sadio Mane a bit of cover from what I've read. Umtiti as a 4-choice centre-back, Wahed said, not for me, nor do I think he'd want to come in as a 4-choice centre-back either, mate. I mean, coming from Barcelona like that, I think he'd probably want to be starting week in and week out. Mo said, no huge money signings going to take place. I agree, Mo, not from our side anyway. I mean, the wide forward will probably be the most expensive of the bunch. Probably talking about 30 million to 40 million if it's somebody like Sarr, as an example, from Watford. And it's really quiet on that whole situation. I mean, regarding Sarr in general, I haven't really seen too much from a Watford side, nor have I seen too much from any other club showing interest in him. It's almost like Liverpool may have a free run at Sarr from what I'm reading anyway. Right, what else have we got? Keep your comments coming, folks. I've got loads of stuff to go through, but as always, I want to read through your comments. Any news on Ozan Kabak from Schalke? They said that they're not selling the guy. We touched on it yesterday. I think it was yesterday's stream, Rahul. And Schalke came out and said that they've only got the guy in. He's really happy there. He's settled and he's part of the project moving forward. But we were listed as one of the clubs that were looking at him. But the feedback coming from Schalke is no dice, no move this summer anyway for him. But again, good shout on the player. City Fisher said, Gini's a 6 out of 10 player most week. Thiago would have been 8 or 9 out of 10, so disappointing if we don't get him. I mean, I understand why you'd be disappointed if we don't get Thiago, mate. I mean, we'd all feel a bit disappointed, but it's a bit unfair of us to kind of use Gini as the scapegoat, if you get where I'm coming from. Now, I don't know if the only reason that maybe we had a word with Thiago's representatives was because the vibes coming out were that Gini may move to Barcelona. Vidal is about to leave Barcelona now, so they're going to free up another place in their midfield and a whole chunk of wages as well. They've obviously let Ivan Rakitic go to Sevilla as well, so Barca are going to be in the market for a midfielder. Whether that midfielder be Thiago or not, I don't know. That remains to be seen. A lot of clubs scurrying right now to try and move players out and free up cash. That's one thing we know for certain. James Pearce also put out there today, just touching on the finances. Again, not claiming to be an expert by any way, shape or form. But it looks like he was told, this is what he said, I was told that the club's losses are going to amount to about £100 million from this whole shutdown or this whole pandemic that's going on in the world. So, you know, but here's where I think rightly Liverpool fans ask a question. We're not the only club that this has affected. We all know that. We also know that other clubs are going into debt to do their signings. They're taking loans from the owners of the club, or the owners of the club are going to get loans and giving them to the club. Lampard at Chelsea, obviously we know that. Spurs have taken a loan, I believe, and a few other Premier League clubs as well. And our owners are unwilling to do that. That's not the business model that they signed up for when they bought the club. Whether we like that or we dislike that, that's kind of where we are. I think this is an exception to the rule though, and I would like to see our owners go into a little bit of debt, or at least maybe front the club 50, 60 million quid to let Klopp do the business that he needs to do. I know that that's not the business model. And I know that people are going to say to me, and rightly say to me, that they've done a lot of great things, that we've invested in the infrastructure. We've got the new main stand, we're looking at the Annie Road end, obviously the new training ground in Kirby that we're going to be moving into shortly, and a few other bits and pieces as well. And that's fair enough. But we're not the only club. Spurs have moved into a brand new shiny £1 billion stadium, and they're out there doing stuff in the transfer window. So again, they had furloughed their staff, and they've taken a loan, I think, on board from the government as well. But they're still able to go out and do business in the window. It is frustrating. It's frustrating because we all have belief in the squad. There's no doubt about that. We all have belief that this Liverpool team and this group of players can do something special again. But they do need a little bit of revitalisation. They need a bit of fresh blood in the dressing room. They need a bit of a lift, I think. Because this is going to be a long season. People are going to be mentally fatigued with what's going on around the world. And, you know, players getting tested as well all the time. It all takes its toll. So a little bit of fresh blood in there for me. The couple of players that the manager wants, I think it should be realistic. He's not asking for the sun, the moon and the stars. Do you know what I mean? Pjanic just signed for Barcelona. Well, thank you, Jamie, by the way. That was the deal done a while back, wasn't it? That Pjanic came to Barcelona and Barcelona shipped on... Who was it that went to Juventus in the other part of that deal? Who was it? Somebody remind me. Who went the other way? I can't remember. Pjanic coming in, obviously. Jamie spot on with that one. Who went the other way? It was... Oh, who was it? It was somebody young, wasn't it? Somebody certainly younger than Pjanic. I'm trying to think of who it was now. So somebody will let me know in the chat here. This is where you guys come in. This is where you earn your crust, ladies and gentlemen. Who was it that went to Barcelona or went to Juventus as part of that? Arthur. There you go. Brazilian young man Arthur. Well done. Thank you for bailing me out there. Yeah, so that was a deal that was done and dusted already. So we did know about that one. What have we got? Brian, I like this. Said time for LeBron James to put his hand in his pocket. Well, he does own a little part of the club, Brian. Yeah. There you go. Rakitic is a good player, said Mo. Yeah, he's not too bad. He's steady enough, but he's a Sevilla player now. Joseph said, quiet summer this year, Salah be gone next summer and expect a blockbuster as his replacement. I kind of don't disagree with what you're saying. I've said all along I've got a sneaky suspicion that Mo could be off next summer. But I don't want it to be a quiet window. I mean, what is quiet? If we get Kostas Tsimikas and we get 2 more players, are we okay with that? Depending on who moves on. To me, I don't want to see Raheem Brewster leave on a permanent basis. I've spoke about this loads of times on the stream, and it's looking like he's edging towards a loan with Sheffield United, although Sky are still banging the drum trying to suggest that Crystal Palace and Sheffield United may buy Raheem Brewster from Liverpool, but that's not what I'm reading. At least that's maybe I'm just reading what I want to believe. Maybe it's that kind of thing. But to me, Raheem Brewster should be a loan to Sheffield United and just show the young lad that we've got belief in him, that he can come back. Whereas if you sell him even with a buyback clause, yeah, you may free up some money, but I've said this before, I don't think it's a good look. I don't think it's shown great belief in Raheem Brewster for saying to him, go out there, we're selling you, mate, but don't worry, there's a buyback clause in there. It's not really telling him that we believe in him, is it? Especially when we fought so hard to get the kid to sign that contract. We should buy Wilfred Boney. Pass, and pass again. Thank you very much. Is it Wilfred Boney still a thing? Is he still playing? Jesus. I still remember him playing for Swansea back in the day. I know the club are struggling financially from... I don't even want to say the word, Skillers. But surely the prize money from all our trophies should at least spend 30-40 mil, although we need to sell first. Well, I did say yesterday we're looking at a rebate of... I think, what was the figure I said? was about 10 million quid or something like that. Maybe it's a little bit more, but it won't be this year. We'll be paying that over the next 2 years because it has been held off, allowing us to collect that prize money, much needed prize money. But yeah, look, I don't know what to say to you. I don't know, I'm not going to blow smoke up your arse and tell you guys lies. It's looking like we're going to be frustrated and then hope for something right at the end. I don't know why it's dragging out this long. I mean, from a financial aspect, maybe the club are just trying to leave it as late as they can, so they don't have any expenditure going out at a time where things look still a little bit unstable. Oh, we've been here before, haven't we? We've said this time and time again. To be fair, people have been saying we'll sell Salah or Mane for years. If they have another great season, I don't see the point of selling. I suppose the point of selling, mate, would be they'd be 30 years of age, or at least heading for 30 years of age next summer, right in their peak. And if we are to look to cash in to build Jurgen Klopp's second squad, that's probably just the point where the value would start to dip down a little bit. So I'd suggest that's why. And I do think it is real. I do think we will lose one of them next summer. I'm not saying I want to, but football is a business, and the way our model is set up, we've kept them here for the peak of their careers, really, and we could sell them just at that tipping point, perhaps. That's the way we're going to do things, I think. At least we've kept the Barcelona, we've kept Juventus, we've kept Real Madrid's mitts off Sadio Mane, Bobby Firmino, Mohamed Salah when they were interested in them, which is, a good sign. Years ago we would have lost the players to these clubs. Peter Crouch is available, said Dara. Peter Crouch, what a man he is. Right, more stuff to go through. One Football suggests Origi to Fenerbahce. Heard anything more? Somebody touched on it yesterday, Tunsty. Thank you for reminding me of that. Somebody did mention it yesterday. It's weird. Divock Origi is the big mystery of this summer to me. Obviously, he didn't take part in pre-season really over in Austria. There was a game played behind closed doors the other day, actually. I want to touch on that one. And he did take a part in it. So there was a behind closed doors friendly played on Sunday against Huddersfield Town's B side. Liverpool's team included James Milner, Xherdan Shaqiri, Divock Origi, Joel Matip, Takumi Minamino and Adrian. Just for your information, the game finished a 1-1 draw, but more importantly, it gave these guys a chance to get more minutes in their legs. So at least we know Origi's match fit. At least we know that he's available now, whether we need to call on him or whether it's putting him in the shop window and perhaps looking to cash in on Divock. I don't know if that move to Turkey will come to fruition. I don't know what type of money we'd be talking about. Maybe it was mentioned in the article, mate. Please do let me know. But I would understand if we did sell Divock Origi if we went out there and got another wide forward, because I think Takumi Minamino, I think you'll all agree with me, is probably number one backup right now to the front three. And then after that, it's probably Origi and then some of the kids. I don't know. I would say Brewster, but it looks like he's going out on loan. Sancho prefers to play for the champion, said Mo Dilbar. Yeah, that whole Sancho situation really is intriguing, because Dortmund are digging their heels in and they're saying no dice, you missed a day, it's not happening. But United fans, Mr. Goldberg and the like, are still very confident that they're going to get him. Now obviously we're all sitting here hoping beyond hope that Jadon Sancho doesn't go to United and that we're in the conversation for him next summer, because that's where we should be. We should be in the conversation for players like him. Dark Shadow said first Werner, now Thiago. But to be fair, again, and I'm not using Genie as a scapegoat here, maybe that interest in Thiago was only there because Klopp thought that perhaps Genie Wijnaldum wasn't going to agree in a new deal and wanted to go to pastures new. So maybe that's where the club's interest in Thiago came from. I don't know if that interest still exists. We're going to find out over the next couple of weeks. There are a lot of people reporting that last week of the window, Liverpool are going to put in their offer, probably a bit of a lowball offer, and test Bayern Munich's resolve. At least the Glazers spend money. Well, I've a limited understanding of United's finances, mate, but they take a lot of money out of that club. The debt repayments from the leverage way they bought the club is kind of crippling United a little bit. United should be able to blow most clubs out of the water in the Premier League financially when it comes to the money that they generate. But, ask any United fan about the Glazers and you're not going to get much positivity back from them. So I'd rather our owners than the Glazers, to be quite honest with you. Whatever you think about our owners, they're not taking money from the club. They're not leveraging us and putting debt on the club. We're pretty much debt free other than the money for the main stand, which is very repayable. And again, it was at minimal interest. I think it was 3% to cover the cost of inflation, so almost interest free. Reckon Liverpool trio in 2 years' time will be Mane, Brewster and Sancho, said Kieran Singh. That wouldn't be too shabby, mate. I want to move on to talk about Roberto Firmino now and John Aldridge. Obviously, John Aldridge knows a number 9 when he sees one. He's been talking about the Roberto Firmino situation and Liverpool's transfer activity. And here's what he had to say. There's been a lot said about Liverpool's stance in the transfer market this summer, but I can't help but feel it might do Bobby some good if he had someone breathing down his neck for his place so he knows how to score goals. Don't get me wrong, I'm a big fan of his and he does some great things for the front three, which often goes unnoticed. But if you're a number 9, you have to score goals. That's the bottom line. And he knows that. He's not been doing that at Anfield for the last year or so, and it needs to change. Now, John Aldridge is as much a Liverpool fan as you or I. He will bleed and die for this club. He absolutely idolises the football club. And for him to come out and speak about Bobby Firmino like that, I'm sure it wasn't easy for him, because I'm sure he's the utmost of respect for Bobby Firmino. But he is right. He is right, and I've been blinded by this and by my love for Bobby Firmino a little bit as well. He does need to be adding more goals, particularly at home. I've always looked at Bobby different to a proper number 9, an out-and-out and aubameyang type number 9, who, by the way, signed a new deal, new 3-year contract with Arsenal today. So I'm sure Arsenal fans are going to be very happy about that. But the Bobby Firmino situation, I understand it. I'm not going to take it on the chin, like I said last night, and I do believe that Firmino does need to score more goals. And I've said to you about the front three all along. I think they all need somebody breathing down their neck. They all need to be putting pressure. Yeah, so there you go. Teams can beat Chelsea, just take long shots at Kepa. Yeah, he was woeful. As I said, he should have saved that one. Right, some more stuff about transfer news. Also, Paul Tierney, by the way, is the referee on Sunday for the Reds game against Chelsea. I'm sure you've seen that already. But if you haven't, there you go. There's a heads up for you. Captain Clun said he agrees with Aldo. I'm inclined to agree with Aldridge as well, to be fair. Love John Aldridge, by the way. Somebody I'd love to have on for a chat someday. United paying 120 grand a week for Henderson, the keeper, a silly amount, said Mo Dilbar. Yeah, that's a backup to somebody that I think they're paying 300 to 350 grand a week for, which is nuts. Genie has had a change of mind, looks like he's staying. Yep, spoke about that a few times, mate, and it does look like Genie's going to stay. It looks like that for whatever reason that he's come to, I don't want to say an agreement with the club because there is no agreement yet, but he's certainly signalled his intent that he wants to stay to the club. Now it's down to the club and Genie's representatives to bang out that contract and keep him here, and that looks like it's going to happen, so happy days. Firmino gets his mojo back. He's invaluable to us, said Elijah John 5. I've said it for a long time. He is invaluable to us, but I can't disagree with people that think he needs to put in a few more goals than he has been recently. But look, I've given you the spiel about what he does. I've told you guys all the bits and pieces that I love Bobby for, and you're probably the same. But in this day and age, when you've got a number 9 on your back, you're playing through the middle for Liverpool, you probably should be scoring a few more goals. I think realistically, something like 15 to 20 a season shouldn't be out of the question for Bobby Firmino across all competitions. Add to that, the other front two probably going to bang in 20 plus a season as well. You know, you're there or thereabouts then, aren't you? Chip in a few from midfield, a few Trent free kicks, a couple of Virgil van Dijk headers, and there you are, you're lifting the Premier League again. Pat Moynihan says Tierney not good. Well, you know my thoughts, Pat, on Premier League referees, mate. They're all, outside of Michael Oliver, there's not many great ones there, to be fair. But to me, I don't think Tierney's the worst of the bunch. I mean, he's no Atkinson, put it that way. It could be worse. But for those that are asking about Thiago, I will go back over it in a while before we finish the stream. Don't worry, we've got loads of time. Relax and stay with us. There is 913 of you amazing people in the chat right now. Do me a little favour. If you're enjoying the stream, hit that subscribe button. Help us on the road to 50k. Don't forget as well, as I did say, we're going to be launching that giveaway tomorrow. We've got a 16x12 signed Kenny Dalglish poster that we're going to be giving away to you guys as a little thank you for all your support on the channel. That competition is open to everybody around the world. We will post it anywhere, so make sure to keep an eye on the channel tomorrow, because we're going to be releasing the video along with a little clip, so you're going to have to be clever, but we will tell you that there's a giveaway. We'll be doing that on Instagram, we'll be doing it on Twitter as well. As you can see from the pop-up, our Instagram account and our Twitter account is just at Anfield Agenda. If you give us a follow on there as well, we'll try and keep in touch. And there's 3 of us now, by the way, that run the Twitter account. There's myself, there's Connor, and there's Dave. So we're actually building a little team now at Anfield Agenda. It used to be just me and Connor, and that little group's now expanded, and we're getting a bit bigger, which is great, because I tell you what, there's a lot of work in this, folks. Get rid of Oxlade-Chamberlain because he's injury prone, said Sarah. I've seen a few people suggest that, Sarah. And I can understand again where it's coming from. I'm somebody that likes Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain. I'm somebody that believes that he can bring a lot to the team when he's fit. He takes shots from outside the box, which I know sounds simple, but I don't think we do it enough. He gives us a little bit of something different with his directness and his pace. But again, would I have him in my starting three a lot of the time in midfield? Probably not, if I'm being honest with you. The pool of players that I'd be looking for the big games for the middle three would be Henderson, Fabinho, Keita, Wijnaldum, maybe Minamino if he's playing an attacking midfield role, and then I'd be looking to the likes of James Milner's, Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain. So to me, he's on the fringe. He's right on the fringe, but still a valuable asset. But I suppose if the right offer came in, I don't know. What do you guys think? I think it would be a sad day if we did leave, but again, it's a ruthless business, and I can understand it, particularly in a market where we need to generate some cash. It is a bit fucking embarrassing. Excuse my language. It is a bit embarrassing, isn't it? Saying that we've got to generate some cash right now. It's not a great look for the Premier League champions, but you know, we are where we are, and we've got to back these guys. I mean, by guys, I mean the manager and the players. Dara said, I predict a 5th place finish for us. Man, nah. Come on, buddy. Be a bit more positive than that. I can't see any way on this planet that we're not fighting for the title this season with Manchester City. I really can't. I mean, even to think about finishing outside the top 4, that's just not going to happen, buddy. The team's too good for that. Lincoln in the cup, people are saying Lincoln must have got through. Brilliant. Bring them on. Happy days. What are your predictions for Sunday? I'll do them properly, mate, as the week goes on, but I do think Chelsea are there for the taking. I think if we show up and we play how we're capable of playing, even if we played to 70%, what I seen from that Chelsea side against Brighton last night, that didn't worry me. That's a Chelsea side that I think we can get the better of. I think we might be catching them at the right time of the season before they have a chance to gel, and if we can come away from Stamford Bridge with 3 points in one of the big games of the season against one of the big 6, and then maybe later on in the season when they come to Anfield, you never know, there could be fans inside, and you know that'll tilt it back in our favour again. Milner isn't deadwood. I don't think I ever said deadwood, mate. Deadwood is not a phrase that I use. I probably said on the fringe. I didn't say deadwood. I love James Milner, and the club are absolutely right to give James Milner a new contract. So please don't be putting words in my mouth, because I get enough abuse as it is without you guys coming in and sticking an L, kicking the bollocks to me. Right, more stuff. What have we got? So Barcelona and Gini Wijnaldum, they look to have given up hope of signing Gini Wijnaldum. He's likely to sign a contract extension. There's been more reports today suggesting that Gini's waiting for an offer from the club, and that he confirmed to Klopp in their meeting recently that he wants to stay. We've gone through all this anyway. What else is there? Done that. Yep, happy days. Right, your comments. Let's get Lingard. No, mate. Do you know what I mean? I would literally rather put Mighty Red out there to play instead of Jesse Lingard. I think we'd have more chance of getting a goal or two. Will beat Chelsea. Still Havertz. What's this? Still Havertz has started yet. I mean, Havertz looked lost, to be quite frank with you. He didn't really do much against Brighton. But as I said, I'm not writing off Kai Havertz. He's still, 21 years of age or something, and barely just arrived in the Premier League. And like any other player, he'll take time to settle. Yeah, Eddie, I don't understand Dara predicting the 5th place thing either. It's genuinely baffled me. Even Brian saying 5th, damn son. Yeah, it's a bit harsh, like. I mean, I can't see any way we don't finish top 4. Right, folks, keep your comments coming. Any questions you want to ask, anything you want to talk about, the floor is yours. As always, super chats are open, super stickers are there, but super chats aren't open for Carl apparently, but for everybody else they are. And memberships, of course, of Anfield Agenda FC are open. It's been great to see a few more people join the Discord group over the last couple of days. If you are a member of the channel, make sure to check out the community tab of our YouTube page, and you'll see the link there to the Discord group. It is part of your membership if you've signed up, so we'd love to see you over there. And again, shout out for our Flick chat group, which has gone past, I think, 430 members on there now, which is brilliant. So if you haven't joined the Flick chat, that's where we keep the party going after the streams. There's a link in the description. It's free to download. It's free to use. There's no ads. No one's going to be trying to sell you stuff on there either. It's just a place where we have a bit of fun offline. We prefer it to Discord. We think it's more user friendly. Lincoln next week in the League Cup, said City. Yep, again, good chance for us to give players a chance to get more minutes in their legs. You'd expect Takumi Minamino, maybe Harvey Elliott, Curtis Jones, maybe even Adrian to get a run out. Although, I don't know. I don't know on the goalkeeper thing, actually. I think I'd rather just play Alisson, but I'd say Klopp probably will give Adrian the League Cup. Sensational FC, how are you, my friend? Said Craig, don't be too don't be too confident. Liverpool's defence looks shaky and Werner will have a worldie. Werner's going to be up for it. You can see that in his face last night when he was speaking after, even with the ice pack on his knee. Someone said to him, are you going to be fit for the game? And he said, you're always fit. You'll make yourself fit for these games. And our defence has looked shaky, no doubt about that. And it'll be interesting to see if the manager sticks with Joe Gomez or goes with Joel Matip against Chelsea. I have a feeling he might switch up, but again, we'll wait to see on that one. Fan Statistica, how are you, buddy? We gave each other a follow earlier on Twitter as well. Lovely to see you in. And I'm good, mate, as are you by the looks of things, which is great to see. Craig, the guy didn't say he was calling Milner Deadwood. Someone else said it in the chat, was just responding to him. Cool. It's tough for me to know that, when I just see random comments in there. But either way, I knew I definitely didn't say it. Let's put it that way. How do I donate? Said LFC 123. You can click. There's loads of different ways, man. You can click and send a super chat feed. There's a little pound or dollar sign just underneath where you put the chat in. You can send a super sticker. You can become a member, which I advise anyone to do. Rather than sending the super chat, I'd be becoming a member, because at least that way you can jump into the Discord group, and we always do give you guys a head up in the Discord group about what's going to happen. They know before anybody else on the channel knows, because they're the people we bounce ideas off. They're the people that we look to for inspiration at times as well, because when we say this is a community, we mean it. We run this channel as a community and we want your input on it. Do I think Son would work well in our midfield? I mean, yes. I love Son. I've said that loads of times. I think he's a very Klopp-esque style of player. It wasn't just Chelsea's defence that was shaky. Their midfield was non-existent first half. Yeah, we would walk through that Chelsea midfield if they played like they did in the first half against Brighton yesterday. I agree. And their defence is definitely shaky. We can get at that defence, and as we know, I'd be telling Trent and I'd be telling Robbo to be sticking balls right in on top of Kepa, and I'd be telling the lads to make sure to be having a few pot shots early doors from outside the box as well. What else is there? Whatever transfers we're going to make have already been agreed beforehand with the players, subject to club agreeing finances. We're bound to know last, but it's been done. Yeah, I agree, Bernadette. As you said, rightly said, the agreements between the two clubs with regards to the fees for transfers, that probably is the last thing. As much as we all like to live in this world where we pretend that tapping up doesn't happen, it absolutely happens. It's rife within the games. It's the only way you can put the feelers out and get to know if players are interested in coming to the club. I want to know, though, how do you guys feel about the situation right now? Are you understanding of where the club are with regards to the finances? Are you somebody that thinks the owners need to put their hand in their pockets? Or are you completely the other way and they're just done with the owners at this point? Of which I'm not, by the way. I'm probably in the middle. I'm somebody who thinks that they could be digging a little bit deeper at this moment in time to help push us forward. But I still think they've done a lot of good things, and I'm certainly not going to be turning on them. Shoot on side from Footy Manager gets turned on against Kepa, said Lucas FM, excuse me. Defo, man, I'd be telling them to be having a field day. Shoot from all angles. Our midfield three don't score enough goals, said Stephen Gray. They could certainly chip in with a few more, mate. Sometimes, though, it depends on how we attack. Sometimes we attack in wide areas, and sometimes we attack with our centre-backs sticking 50-yard diagonal balls over the top for Mohamed Salah or Sadio Mane. So a lot of the time, we bypass midfield. But what I said last night was what I'd like to see from our midfield, and obviously not Fabinho, he's going to be the holding player, but the likes of Henderson, the likes of Naby Keita, Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain, I'd like to see more third-man runs. So let's say we see Robbo going down the left hand side. Robbo tears around the outside, gets to the byline, looks up. Usually you're expecting a ball fired across the 6-yard box. I wouldn't mind seeing more balls pull back to the penalty spot, edge of the 18-yard box, and seeing those late runners. Particularly if a team's sitting back and defending deep against us. I mean, I don't think we do enough of it personally. Can you have Coppish TV joining Anfield Agenda, said Dinesh. I've often thought about that, I've often thought about Anfield Agenda bringing on a load of other channels like that and just putting them all under one banner. So let's say we had Drifty and the guys from Coppish come over or whatever. If I have thought about it, and I like Drifty and I like the guys at Coppish, yeah, we're on good terms with them as well. But I've often wondered about that, about bringing other people on board and trying to expand, so put a kind of umbrella of brands underneath Anfield Agenda, which would be class someday. You never know. Today's Bernadette's birthday. Oh, Bernie, happy birthday. Happy birthday to Bernadette. Look, ladies and gents, we don't ask for much on the channel, but Bernadette is an OG on Anfield Agenda. If it's her birthday today, which of course it must be, Prometheus is saying so, please do me a little favour. You know what I ask you to do when it's one of her own's birthday. Fill up that screen with love hearts and let Bernadette know we're thinking of her. Truly, Bernadette is OG Anfield Agenda. She's been here a very long time and she's one of the greats. So thank you, Bernadette. Happy birthday to you. Lots of love from all of us. And again, I hope that we see that screen full of love hearts for you because it's your birthday. Happy birthday. What else we got? Seeing Werner play for Chelsea against us is going to hurt. Yes, I know. I agree. And Pulisic from my point of view as well. City said Coppish is good. Definitely should look to do more collabs. Yeah, it is. Coppish, I like the lads at Coppish. I've said it before. We've done stuff back and forth with Thrifty and the guys in Callum, and we'll probably do more. Yeah, I mean sometimes it's a scheduling thing. Do you know what I mean? It's difficult to tie people down. People are busy. Sometimes their schedules run differently. Sometimes people are free at different times. But yeah, nothing but love to Thrifty and the guys. Good point about crosses. Those things just being more tactically flexible, necessary to hold in the title. Love the stream. Thank you, Risk It. Marcus, thank you so much, mate, for the super chat. You're very kind. We never walk alone. Work alone, yes. And thank you for those people sticking in love hearts for Bernadette. Happy birthday again, Bernadette. Upamecano has a £40 million buyout clause that will come active from June the 1st until June the 15th next year. I think if that is the case, Curtis Jones is the next Javi, then you're going to have a lot of clubs sniffing around Upamecano because he's a decent centre-back to say the least. And yeah, I mean, I was hopeful, maybe a bit hope beyond hope, that Liverpool were going to look to him in this window for that fourth choice spot. But, you know, that was just me being a little bit of a dreamer, to be honest. Anthony said, Sarr deadline day signing, watch. I hope we don't leave it that long. I mean, so if I was putting money on the wide forward thing, I'd probably be leaning towards Sarr, if I'm being honest with you. But I don't want it to be that late. There's no need for it to be that late. There really isn't. Not if a player, you know, hasn't played for Watford yet in the Championship, kind of came out and spoke about his future a while back. You probably remember it. He was linked to Liverpool. He touched on it. I just hope, if he is the one that we're going after, we don't leave it that late. Hope you had a great day, Bernadette, said Dave. Yeah, Bernadette's great. We love Bernadette. Thank you, guys. I'm tearful now. Love you lots. Don't be tearful, Bernadette. It's a happy occasion, mate. You only turned 21 once. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. As I said, I turned 39 last week. And next year, I'm not turning 40. I just don't agree with it. I'm going to be turning 39.1, then 39.2. Just going to do software updates from this point from Craig. Patch a few cracks. I'm definitely never turning 40. 96 Red Skillet, thank you for the super chat, buddy. We get lots of Norwegian. We get lots of Norwegian. God, Craig, get it right. Lots of Norwegian people watching, and it's always lovely to see you guys in. What's your thoughts about playing Firmino in the number 10 in a 4-2-3-1 and getting a top striker? The first part, I think, can absolutely happen. I think Bobby Firmino could play in a 10 or in a central attacking midfield position, no problem whatsoever, and he'd probably be more comfortable there. But what I would say is, I don't think we're going to go out and get a 9. Now, in the system that you're talking about, can we play somebody like Mo through the centre? Absolutely. Mohamed Salah could be that striker. Especially if we brought in somebody like Sarr who could give us more cover in the wide areas. Obviously, Takumi can play across the front three as well. But yeah, Bobby can definitely play as a 10. No doubt about it. I think a lot of people were thinking that way when he came in particularly. What's this? Craig, can we watch the games at your house? Most of us don't have Peacock Premium. Yeah, what is this Peacock stuff I'm seeing from NBC? I've seen a lot of people from the States complaining about that. Now, I know that there's NBC SN and then there's NBC Gold or something like that, isn't there? But I've seen a lot of people talking about this Peacock thing recently and complaining about it. I don't know what it is, but you're always welcome at my gaff, mate. Do you know what I mean? The door's always open. Just make sure you bring plenty of Diet Coke with you, otherwise you're not getting in. Firmino needs competition, said Davidson King. Mate, I absolutely agree with you. He does, but so do the rest of the front three. Therein lies the headache that we're all going through right now. Prometheus said, my dad's 40 and he still denies it. He says he's still 30. I'm going to be like your dad, mate, the exact same way. I got 8 out of 8 on Flick, said Rafa. If you are, like I thought, 39. Well, when I put the thing up on Flick, I was 38, mate. So, there you go. But if you did get 8 out of 8, well done. And if you don't know what he's talking about, we did mention the Flick chat group earlier on. We've got a couple of quizzes and a few polls up there for you to vote on as well. But one of the quizzes is, how well do you know Craig? And there's 8 questions. They're not easy. Because as I said before, my wife didn't get them all right. And Connor didn't get them all right. But there was a couple of you guys that got them right. So well played. And if you are one of those people, let me know in the Flick chat and I'll give you a shout out. Would you like Odegaard? Yes, I do, but I don't think there's any way that Real Madrid are going to loosen their grips on him. In a very good spell on loan with Sociedad and proved that he is as good as many people think he is. You probably remember the name Odegaard from when Martin Odegaard from when he was like 16 and it was competition between us and Real Madrid to get a signature. And even though I think he is a lifelong Red, he chose the Real Madrid path and he went out on loan to Sociedad. And I can't see Real Madrid letting him go because he looks like a legit player. Unless it's one of those deals like the one that they're trying to sort out with Spurs now for Reguilon where there's a buyback clause in there, and I can't imagine Liverpool entertain and deal whereas we buy a player and somebody else can come in and buy him back. I mean, small club mentality stuff if you ask me. Connor said we played like that a bit last season with Shaqiri right wing and Salah up front. Yes, exactly. Well played, Connor. We did. And now we've got Minamino, of course, and if we were to go out there and get the wide forward that a lot of us think we are going to get, and the media certainly thinks we're going to get, then yes, that system, that 4-2-3-1 is definitely playable. For me, in the 2, I'd like to see Hendo Fabinho as that double pivot in the 2. Obviously, you can bring in Gini as well at times, but if we are playing the 4-2-3-1, then you're going to want another forward because you need somebody else in that wide area if you're going to put Mo through the middle. And you know, I like the idea of Mo playing through the middle, by the way. I think he can do that no problem. Especially if he starts off as well as he did in the first game of the season against Leeds. He looked like a man on fire. Sociedad is definitely a good word to say, Steve. There's some words I just love to say. Valencia. That's another one. I love saying Valencia. Valencia. Emiliano Martinez announced he wants to go. Emiliano Martinez... good stuff. Odegaard is a baller. No disagreeing with that one. Do you think we should try Naby or Takumi in the 10? They can try them there. I would almost suggest they've played there to some extent. They can definitely do it. Yeah, who can play in the 10 for us? Firmino, Takumi, Oxlade-Chamberlain can do it. Naby Keita can do it. Wijnaldum can do it. So, there's no shortage. That's one of the things about the players that Klopp brings in. You'll often look at them and see that they're so versatile. They can play in 2, 3, 4 positions in the starting 11. I mean, you go right through our midfield, and that is full of accomplished midfielders who can play anywhere in those 3 positions, the 6, the 8, or the 10, if you want to just go old school about it. Thoughts on Click from Leeds would be lovely in our midfield. He's a good player, but he's a player that very much suits what Marcelo Bielsa is doing there at Leeds and the system that they play, and I think he likes being there. Now Leeds are a Premier League club. I think they won't be looking to let him go anytime soon. Odegaard supports Liverpool. I believe so, yes. I'm sure I read something about that very recently, like the last couple of days. Do I speak Gaelic? No. I'm embarrassed to say, mate, no. My Irish is very limited, buddy. Very limited. But I've reservations about Keita, said Elijah John 5. Please do put them into the chat, mate. Happy to have a conversation about Naby. I mean, I'm starting to get a bit giddy now about Naby Keita because I really think we're going to see the best of him this season. There's no denying that last season didn't live up to the hype, but that partly was to do with injuries, partly to do with still getting used to the league and stuff. But I think we're now starting to see the real Naby Keita, and I'm expecting big things this season. I don't want to use the cheesy phrase like a new signing, but I think we're definitely going to have an improved Naby ahead. But it's definitely a conversation we can have in the chat, no doubt about it. Right, what have we got? Don't forget, please do hit that subscribe button, folks. Give us a like on the stream as well. We want to get towards 50k. Amazing to think that our little community can hit 50k, but we need your support as always to do it. When is deadline day? October the 5th is when the transfer window closes. There is, I think, a 10 or 11 day period after that where you can do domestic loans, i.e. we can loan players out to the Championship. But I think it's definitely October the 5th the window shuts. Kada for our number 10 said Prometheus. Where's City's great point that somebody's saying? Is this the last season for Kada to prove himself? He's like a new signing for the third straight year now. For me, it doesn't kick on. If he doesn't kick on now, he should be sold next summer. I think it's a fair point. I think he's got no excuses anymore, City. I think that is very fair to say. But, I'm backing my boy. I've been backing him all along. But I do understand where you're coming from. And I do understand that with the money that was spent on Naby Keita, now is the time that he needs to start delivering. No disagreement at all, mate. I guess only time will tell, won't it? Calvin Phillips should be our new Hendo or Milner, said Football Talks. Again, I mean, Leeds were impressive against us, but I mean, Ben White is the one that I want us to be keeping track of at Brighton, by the way. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised at all to see Liverpool go in there next summer to try and get him. He was at Leeds, obviously, for the last 2 seasons. Can we sign Thiago already? Right, let's do another little straw poll on this whole Thiago thing. What do we think? Give us a thumbs up if you think Liverpool will sign Thiago before the window closes, or give me a thumbs down if you think that this deal is dead in the water and it just is not going to happen. Either way, I'd love to know your thoughts on it, folks. And again, if you're watching this back later on, please do give me your thoughts in the comment section. This season will be hard, yes, it absolutely will. It'll be certainly harder than last season for us, but I still believe we can do this. I still believe we can retain that Premier League title. Even if we don't make any more additions, we will need a little bit of luck along the way, particularly with injuries to our key players like Van Dijk. But, we always need a little bit of luck to go out there and win the Premier League title. Is Glatzel still at the club? Yes, coming back from a long-term injury. Not sure if he's going to go out on loan or whatever, but yeah, he's almost like a forgotten man, Paul Glatzel, isn't he? Was part of that dynamic duo with Bobby Duncan that were banging in goals for fun at underage level. But yes, he is still a Liverpool player. Right, let's get a poll here. What have we got? Yes, no. Oh, this is real 50-50 stuff, I think, folks. Is there a fence emoji? Yeah, I get where you're coming from, City. Please don't stop the league this year, government, please. Well, look, mate, we hope that not just the league will go out, but, that we'll get fans back inside the stadium as well. Oh, this really is... I think you guys are as confused about this whole thing as I am. It definitely looks like we're all wavering whether Thiago will come or not. Thiago saga is still alive. It's definitely a saga, and we do love a saga over the last few years, don't we? But hopefully we get a saga someday with a happy ending. Joe said, me and Verge were talking and suggested we buy a young Celtic defender, Ajar. What do you think? We should buy a decent player. I love that you're pretending to be the real Joe Gomez there, buddy. But Ajar is somebody that, and I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing his name correctly, by the way, I'm probably not. He's definitely been somebody that a few people have been mentioning. It was actually mentioned earlier on in the stream. And as I said, I did ask a couple of my Celtic supporting mates about them, and they said that a little bit of a mixed bag, but he's starting to sort of show more consistency. I don't think we're taking full advantage of Jones. I think we'll see more. I was delighted to see Curtis Jones actually get the 25 minutes at the end of the game against Leeds. It was a great show of belief from Jurgen Klopp in him in a very vital period of the game to give him that 25 minutes, and I thought that he looked like he belonged. I thought that Curtis Jones looked like every other player out there. He looked the quality that we need, and I think we're going to see big things from Curtis Jones in the next couple of years at Liverpool. As long as he doesn't go to rival domestic team, then I'm fine with not getting Thiago. That's kind of where I'm at with it, Rafa. I mean, I'd love us to get him, but it would feel like a massive kick in the nuts if he went to Manchester United or City came in last minute or Spurs or somebody. If he went to a domestic rival, I absolutely would be pretty annoyed about it. After seeing Werner, yeah, I get where you're coming from. Best Liverpool channel on YouTube, Neil from Ireland. Thank you, mate. I mean, appreciate that, really do. How do you feel about Firmino at central attacking mid, said Cameron? Absolutely think that he could work there, mate. No doubt about it. I think Bobby Firmino's the type of footballer that will adapt to any position that you play him in. But I would almost suggest that that is probably an ideal position for him. And it will be interesting to see if we do tweak shape this season, as we've done before, as Connor said, and go to that 4-1-3-1 system, or 4-2-3-1, excuse me. But yeah, look, Bobby can play in the central attacking midfield position, no problem. And you've seen him lately, he's been dropping deeper and deeper anyway to try and get involved in the games. Right, what else? I just hope this doesn't turn out to be like Werner, said Will. Yeah, so do I. I'm still a little bit peeved that we didn't get Timo Verner, mate. I mean, apart from the fact that he can play as a wide forward if needs be, I suppose not everybody would have known this, but I think during his days at Stuttgart, was that we broke through, he did start out as a wide forward, obviously now plays as a central striker, but even last night for Chelsea, was out on that left-hand side towards the end of the game, and Mason Mount seemed to be playing through the middle. What do you think our biggest weakness is at the moment going into the Chelsea game? Do you know, at the starting 11, it's hard to pinpoint any weakness in our team. But what other teams seem to be doing is targeting the Gomez-Trent side. They seem to think they're going to get more joy there than they would do going down the Andy Robertson, Virgil van Dijk side. And I suppose you could understand that. Two younger players as well. But I don't know, it's hard to pick a weakness because we're pretty strong from 1 to 11. Yeah, I genuinely don't think we've many weaknesses. I don't. I mean, we definitely need to be better defensively, no doubt about that. I know a lot of people don't like us playing the high line. I like it, personally. I like it because the technology now allows us to do that and make sure that the right decisions are made. So if we hold our line correctly and, you know, a free kick is just offside, at least, you know, VAR will look at it now and we'll get the right decision. But I can understand it. I can understand why people are a little bit frustrated. I mean, conceding 3 goals at home at the opening day of the Premier League season is not ideal. Brewster update, if you don't mind, said Callum. Absolutely, no problem, buddy. Right, so here's where we are with Raheem Brewster right now. There's 2 different trains of thought. You've got Sky Sports side of things that are suggesting that maybe Liverpool are going to sell him to Crystal Palace or to Sheffield United with a buyback clause. They've said that Liverpool wouldn't sell him without the buyback clause. Or you've got other people like myself and a few other journalists who seem to think it's most likely he's going to go to Sheffield United on loan. We spoke on last night's stream about the dossier that Chris Wilder has put together to show the plans for Raheem Brewster and what he would do with the club, the style of football that they play, how it would be suited to Raheem Brewster, and how that they would bring Raheem Brewster along and progress him. And we've already spoke before on the stream about the fact that Jurgen Klopp has spoken very fondly of the way Chris Wilder has gone about things at Sheffield United, the style of football that they play, and the buy-in that he gets from those players. So I think it will be a very good move if we loaned Raheem Brewster to Sheffield United. He'd get valuable minutes in the Premier League. He'd work under a very good manager who I think would get the best out of him, would put an arm around his shoulder if needs be, but would certainly make sure that Raheem Brewster got the game time that would be needed. So I'm all for that if that's where the club want him to go. I just don't like the idea of selling him, but I still think it'll be a loan. And I'm really excited to see what Raheem can do in the Premier League. I really, really am. I mean, he went down to Swansea. I think he played 21, 22 games, scored 11 goals, was thought very highly of in the dressing room there. Steve Cooper had nothing but good things to say about him. Said that he was great fun around the dressing room, always wanted to improve, trained really well. All positive signs again from somebody who I've never had a moment's doubt about. Still to this day, I believe that Raheem Brewster will lead that Liverpool attack someday. I really do. Sheriff Kaiser said Brewster needs to stay. Origi and Shaqiri can go. Yes, I would agree that Origi and Shaqiri can go. Nothing against either gentleman. Both, you know, very nice lads by the looks of it. But this is a ruthless window where we need to free up any player that isn't going to be good enough long term at Liverpool. And unfortunately, I don't think Divock Origi will ever get there. I think he'll do a job for somebody around Europe as a 9. Absolutely, he is a high level footballer, but I don't know, there's just something. I don't know whether it's a mental block or, well, it couldn't be a mental block because he's out there scoring goals in Champions League finals and semi-finals. I don't know what it is. I just don't know if he's going to hit the level required. I mean, what we're talking about here is a very small pool of players around the world who would be good enough to come in and really make a splash in this Liverpool side and believe in themselves that they can displace the players that are in this Liverpool side. It's no good us getting a forward to come in that's going to be happy to sit there on the bench and come in and play once in a while. We need somebody who's going to look at our front three and go, I'm taking your shirt, buddy. I'm here to take your shirt, and I'm going to be in that starting 11, and I'm going to be fighting with you every step of the way. That's what we need, and I think that's the calibre of footballer that Jurgen Klopp would be looking to. Whether that's a young lad who backs himself, maybe like Sarr, that remains to be seen. But the Sarr thing, I'm kind of thinking that's the option for a wide forward. Can Jones become a prolific scorer? That we'll have to wait and see. I mean, he's not afraid to have a shot. Definitely an attack-minded player for sure. Definitely believes in himself. That's one thing I always look for with a player coming through. And again, it was lovely to see Curtis Jones. I mean, on the Saturday playing for Liverpool against Norwich, on the Sunday down supporting the under-23s in that first mini derby against Everton, the 1-0 win, down there showing support to his teammates, because he played with these guys for a very long time, and it was wonderful to see that. Caoimhín Kelleher put in man of the match display, by the way, in that game, in which the Reds ran out 1-0 winner, so well done to them. Who was it scored the goal? Kane scored the goal. Any truth to the Dennis Zakaria rumours? I don't know. I have seen the name floating around, but again, if there's truth to these things or not, I genuinely don't know. What else we got? Chelsea and United don't have the defences required to get more points than us, Brian was saying to Dara. There was a really interesting thing, actually. Did you see the thing that I think it was on Monday Night Football, Jamie Carragher and Gary Neville were talking, particularly Gary Neville. He was speaking about Mohamed Salah, and he was kind of saying, putting Mohamed Salah right up there with the Cristiano Ronaldos of this world with regards to the impact that he can have. And it was nice actually to hear Gary Neville talking about him in such glowing terms. Obviously not happy being a United ex-player and fan, but then they went on to talk about the goalkeeping situation, and Brian was touching on it there. Chelsea are not going to win a Premier League title with Kepa in goal. They need better. And they were touching on the Karius situation as well, and how they said that at the time Karius just wasn't right for Liverpool and they needed to do better. We went out there obviously and got Alisson, and boom, won a Champions League and a Premier League. And it is right. You're not going to win Premier League titles with average midfield or average defenders and average goalkeepers. Excuse me, you need the best. That's why we went out there and got Alisson and Virgil van Dijk. The biggest flop has been Sepp Vandenberg. How can you call an 18-year-old fella, or a young man anyway, who hasn't had a chance to prove himself yet, a flop? That's madness. Now, to look at the calibre and the belief around Europe in Sepp Vandenberg, Bayern Munich were trying really hard to sign this guy. There was a host of clubs around Europe fighting with Liverpool to get his signature, and Liverpool got him. And he's going to progress whatever way Jurgen Klopp develops him. That remains to be seen. I'm not saying that he's going to come on and be a first-choice centre-back for Liverpool, but what I am saying is, to call him a flop is ridiculous. It's beyond a fucking joke, to be honest with you. And the fact that any Liverpool fan would think that way about such a young player baffles me, if I'm being honest with you. Baffles me, it really does. I would agree with Captain Clun. I would say Karius. I don't like to use the word flop, but I would say Karius has certainly been the one transfer I'd look to Jurgen Klopp's business and thinking, hasn't really worked out too well. You could put in an argument for Grujic, but at least with Grujic, worst case scenario, will turn a profit on Marco Grujic if he moves on. Now, Grujic's agent came out recently and spoke and said that his client was told that he's going to get a chance to prove himself at Liverpool. So, let's see what happens there as well. Have you been impressed by any of the Everton signings? Said Connor Nolan. Genuinely, yeah. I think James Rodriguez looked silky. He's a quality footballer, but the thing about Rodriguez is, will he get injured? The signing that has actually, I don't like to give Everton any credit, of course I don't, but the signing that I actually think has impressed me most at Everton is Andre Gomes. I think that under Carlo Ancelotti, he looks like a very tidy footballer as well. They've done some good business. The Corre is a decent signing for them as well. Alan will give them that kind of pivot midfield, I suppose. And that's decent business. They've no excuses anymore. They can't look at the board and they can't complain about the money that they haven't had. If they don't finish, at least they'd have to be challenging for a Europa League place with the money that they've spent. Or at least that's where their fans will, I'm sure, believe they should be. Now, some of them will get carried away with themselves, of course, and say that they're going to win the league, which they absolutely will not. But As much as it pains me to say it, they've definitely strengthened, and they've got a very good manager in Carlo Ancelotti. But of course, I still wish them every bit of misery and not a single piece of success. But let's wait and see what happens. What else have we got? United is no. What else we got? United is no more dream club for top marquee players. United will pay too much for mediocre players. United slowly becoming a stepping stone for most good players. That makes me smile, buddy. That definitely makes me smile. Look, ladies and gentlemen, we've gone past the hour mark on the channel. I can stay on for another 10 minutes if you want. Let me know in the chat. I know it takes about 20 seconds for this to catch up and to relay, but if you want me to hang on for another 10 minutes or so, give me a thumbs up. If you want me to piss off, no problem, we'll call it a night. We're still not sure what day we're going to take off this week, because we usually do take one day a week off. The game's on Sunday, obviously, so we'll probably do a preview for that on Friday. Maybe Saturday, I'm not sure. I'll have a word with Connor anyway and see what day he wants to take off. Will Leeds beat any of the top 6 teams? Yes, they will. I mean, at Ellen Road, I'm sure they will. I don't know who, but, you're talking about 12 games there that they have to play. I'm sure they'll win one of them. Another big flop's been Thiago Aspas. He was a Brendan Rodgers signing though, mate. Nothing to do with Kloppo. And yeah, definitely a flop. Although he's done quite well since he's gone back to Celta Vigo. Leeds top 10. I would say between 10 and 15 would be my prediction for Leeds. Yeah, stay on. Cool. Bernadette, super chat on your birthday. That's very kind. My nephew and his girl went to Hoylake on the Wirral at the weekend, and there were loads of toffees swaggering around in their shirts because they can't do it in Liverpool. The city is red, said Bernadette. Defo, it is definitely red, Bernadette. No matter what these fools think, it's definitely red. And thank you for the super chat on your birthday, Bernadette. What you saying to it, Craig? I don't know what the question is, Scotty, my friend. Thiago update, right? We'll go back over the Thiago situation then before we finish up as well. There's been a little bit more chatter that Liverpool will wait until the final week of the window to make an offer for Bayern Munich's midfielder. James Pearce still believes that the only way we'll see the club make an offer for Thiago is if a midfielder leaves and some squad space is freed up. Now, I'm still trying to pin down James Pearce for an exact day for the interview, but we have got an agreement there, so we will be getting James on for a chat. I'm still waiting. I'm waiting to tie down a couple of people to exact days. So just keep with us. Make sure you've got your notifications turned on, because when I do an interview with the likes of a James Pearce or Jim Boardman or whoever, I try to pre-record it because I get distracted if there's a live chat when I'm doing these streams. So I think it's better to do a pre-recorded as well. So make sure you've got your notifications turned on. And again, please do hit that subscribe button. We're getting really close now to 45,400. And each 100 ticks us along closer to 50k, and then eventually the big one, 100k. Who would have thought that this little channel may someday get to 100k? I'm really, really excited about the thoughts of that. Bale to Spurs, yes, there is talk of that. A loan deal, I believe, with something like 300 grand a week to be paid by the loan club, I think, in wages. Was Morientes a massive flop? Asked Brian Morrissey. Bit of a disappointment is what I'd say, Brian. I remember when we signed Fernando Morientes at Liverpool, I thought, he was brilliant. He was brilliant at Monaco, he was brilliant at Real Madrid, and I thought he was going to be brilliant at Liverpool, but I just think it was the wrong time. A little bit too late in his career, perhaps. But I still love knowing that Fernando Morientes played for the club. But I wouldn't call him a flop. But maybe that's just because I'm biased and I like Fernando Morientes. Harry Kewell. Now there's one that I would definitely put into the flop pile. See, when we signed Harry Kewell from Leeds, I'll never forget the day. I was actually in accident and emergency in a hospital in Dublin waiting to get a scan done. And it was on the news that Harry Kewell had decided, he did this whole big thing where he decided where his next club was, and he announced it was going to be Liverpool. And I just thought, I turned around to my wife and said, that's it, that's the signing that we needed. We needed that left-sided player. Now we're going to be real contenders. And it just never worked out, did it? I mean, whether it be for injuries or whatever reason, we didn't see the Harry Kewell that we seen at Leeds. That was a real disappointment to me on a personal level. How are you doing? I'm doing good, yes, sir. I hope you are as well. Firmino needs more goals, said Adam Noon. Yep, we spoke about it earlier on. I mean, John Aldridge touched on it as well. Again, just in case you're coming in a little bit late, I'll recap on what Aldo had to say about Firmino. He said, there's been a lot said about Liverpool's stance in the transfer market this summer, but I can't help but feel it might do Bobby some good if he did have somebody breathing down his neck for his place, so he knows he's got to score goals. Don't get me wrong, I'm a big fan of his and he does some great things for the front three, which often goes unnoticed. But if you're a number 9, you have to score goals. That's the bottom line, and he knows that. He's not been doing that at Anfield for the past year or so, and it needs to change. And look, I think we'd all agree with what John Aldridge had to say there. None of us have anything but fondness for Roberto Firmino, but he does need to chip in a little bit more with some goals. Again, it's paining me to say this because I'm such a Bobby Firmino fan, but I think it's an honest assessment there from Aldo. Joe Cole, bit of this, yeah. But look, we're talking about Joe Cole here. We're talking about the Roy Hodgson era here. So we're talking about the Milan Jovanoviches, the Joe Coles, the Paul Koncheskis. Getting a headache, a migraine, just thinking about it. Oh, the pain. And then hearing Gerrard say that Joe Cole in training was like Messi or something ridiculous like that as well. Oh, God. Oh, the pain. I remember thinking about Yossi Benayoun going the other way, and I remember thinking, we've absolutely done Chelsea there. We got Joe Cole on a free, and they gave us, I think, about £5 million for Yossi Benayoun at the time. And yeah, it looked like Chelsea, I think, got the better end of that deal, to be fair. Always enjoyed Yossi Benayoun's time at Liverpool. Jordan Rossiter, yeah, there's so many. I mean, we could go through. Jordan Rossiter came through the youth system, and again, he was hailed as maybe the next Stevie G. It just goes to show you it is very difficult to make that jump from the youth system right through to the first team, which makes what Curtis Jones is doing, I think, even more impressive. Benteke, oh God, no. Benteke, Andy Carroll, I don't even want to think about it. I think we can all... Now, we're having this conversation. Now look where we are. Do you know what I mean? Like, look where we are now to where with the players that we're talking about. Look how far Jurgen Klopp and the owners have brought the club right now. I mean, the Paul Konchesky days, they were horrendous. Don't do yourself a migraine, Craig. Oh, honestly, it's just none of us want to go back there. Do you know what I mean? Madness. What happened to Cameron Brannigan? I think he's at Oxford United. If my memory is correct, I think he's at Oxford United. But I'm sure somebody in the chat will know. Roy Hodgson was the biggest flop. Absolutely. But again, at the time that Hodgson came in, we were just... I hate even saying this, but it wasn't a very appealing job at that moment in time. The club were going through the whole stuff with the owners about the Royal Bank of Scotland loan, and Dalglish had just been... it just wasn't great. Do you know what I mean? It just wasn't great. I don't even want to think about it. God, thank God we've come that far. Charlie Adam, who, by the way, I think is about to sign for Dundee United. I'm sure I've seen that earlier on somewhere. Right, look, ladies and gentlemen, I can't go through this. I can't relive the bad days. We're back in the glory days now, thankfully. But look, I'll be here tomorrow at 8:30 with another late night agenda. We'll be going through all the transfer rumours and stuff as well. Just before we finish up, make sure to download the Flick Chat app and come across and have a chat with us on there. There's a link in the description. Again, if you want to become a member of Anfield Agenda FC, you get the Anfield Agenda badge beside your name. You get all the custom emojis that Connor Crosby's designed for the channel. And I'm going to show you what those emojis are before we finish up tonight. 1 second. I'm going to get these emojis up here on the screen. We have a whole host of emojis that you guys can use. I particularly like using them during games, by the way, because you've got the goal emojis and stuff like that as well. I think that's all of them, unless I've missed one. Have I? Yeah, I've missed that one. Yeah, there you go. There's all the emojis anyway in the chat there now. And WFM to all of you. We are all WFM at this moment in time. But look, ladies and gentlemen, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Hit that subscribe button, drop a like on the video, and we'll see you at 8:30 tomorrow. Stay safe and be well. Lots of love to you all. Up the Reds.